Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the best new spring luxury makeup releases. So we have had a lot of new luxury beauty releases that have come out lately, and I wanted to do a thorough roundup of what I think the best new releases are for the springtime. These are my favorite spring luxury makeup products that I think are going to perform well. So typically I like to switch up my makeup products for each season. That's just how I do my makeup. I definitely have my summertime favorites and my wintertime favorites, and they change throughout the seasons. So I wanted to do a roundup of my favorite spring luxury beauty products. We have had a lot of new beauty releases. A lot of makeup products I decided not to purchase, but a lot of products really have been intriguing to me, and a lot of you wanted to see my reviews on them, so I have picked up a bit more makeup than I usually would. But if you want to see all my favorite spring luxury beauty releases, just keep watching. And I wanted to talk about my favorite foundations, and Dior has just been killing it with the new makeup releases. I really love this stick foundation. So this was released last year, but I actually picked it up this year. And I really enjoyed this foundation, and I really like this foundation in particular because I feel like it works for so many different situations. This is a foundation that is medium coverage. It starts out medium coverage, so I like that it is a buildable foundation. You can get full coverage out of this, but because it is a fuller coverage foundation, you also have the option to really sheer it out. So I love that versatility factor with this foundation. It is a very flexible foundation because of that. You can use it for all different situations. So when I am recommending a foundation, and say you just want to purchase one foundation, this is something I highly recommend because of that versatility. I really like this one. It's just so flexible, and I can't say enough good things. It's also long lasting. It is forgiving on pores. I have heard really good things for mature skin. A lot of you guys have left comments in my comment section and let me know it is good for mature skin as well. It holds up all day long on me. This worked really well in the winter time, and I feel like it's going to be very great in the springtime because it's not going to be so hot or makeup's going to be melting off my face, and I want something super lightweight. We still have that springtime weather where it's still a little bit cooler, especially where I live, and I just love how this looks all the time. It is very long wearing and a high performing product. However, I did want to give the option of this Dior Forever Hydra Nude foundation. In both of these foundations, I wear the shade 2.5N. Dior has just been killing it with the foundations, but this is a really beautiful, I would say it's a lighter coverage foundation, but it's not so light, it's not so sheer coverage. You do have a little bit of flexibility because I do think this is buildable to about a medium coverage. You can't get full coverage out of that, so for that reason, it's just a little bit less flexible than this Dior stick foundation. However, you can get a good medium coverage, I want to say. And I really like this one because it has a more natural finish. So this really looks like your skin. This has that very flattering skin-like finish, where this finishes to more of a satin finish. This is going to give you that beautiful natural finish. So to me, this one looks more skin-like because of that, because it's just not super glowy, where, you know, natural skin isn't very glowy. This truly has a skin-like finish. If I was going to compare it to any foundation, I would compare it to the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation, that one that comes in a jar. Very similar coverage level, very similar finish. I think this one has a bit more coverage than the Chantecaille one, but if I was just to compare it, that's the best comparison I could make. So I really enjoy both of these foundations, and I just wanted to mention them both just in case you're looking for something that's a little bit lighter coverage. If I were, I guess, to pick, this would be a great everyday option, and this would be a more special occasion option. But if I was going to pick one, I would probably do this just because it's more versatile. You can really sheer it out on the skin. However, I did want to mention a third foundation, and I know I am cheating with all of this because I was supposed to just mention my favorite per category, but a lot of you guys have specified that you cannot handle fragrance. You just personally choose not to use fragrance in your products. So I would really want to make an effort to mention fragrance-free products, and I would go with this Chantecaille. This is the Future Skin Cushion Foundation, because I think the best comparison I could make is it's very comparable to this Dior Stick Foundation. However, it has the same finish as this Dior Hydra Nude Foundation, where it's that natural skin-like finish. It's not too satin, it's not too matte, it's that perfect skin finish. And it gives the exact same coverage level as the Dior, where you can really sheer it out, you can really build it up on the skin, but this is a fragrance-free product. This has skincare mixed into it, so it's that skincare makeup hybrid. I really like this because it is very blurring on the skin. It is very long wearing. So if you are looking for a fragrance-free option, highly recommend this Chantecaille Cushion Foundation. It is absolutely beautiful. So today I think I am going to go for something lighter coverage. So I'm going to reach for the Dior Forever Hydra Nude foundation. And I'm just going to pump 2 pumps of that into the palm of my hand. I'm just going to go in with my Refer. This is the VO4. I think the new name is the LCO3. And I'm just going to distribute that product onto the palm of my hand and get it really evenly distributed before I work it onto the skin. And this is, like I stated, a fragrance product, unfortunately. I really hope when Dior reformulates next, because we know they're going to reformulate their products, I really hope they remove the fragrance, because I just feel like that's the vibe most people are going for currently, is that they are choosing to go with more fragrance-free products. It's just so much better for your skin. And not only your skin, just like internal health as well. But anyways, I won't get into that. This is just so beautiful on the complexion. I love it. It's just so lightweight, and it does a great job of just blurring any skin texture. Like not that I have large pores or anything, but it just makes it look like you have this filtered effect on your skin. And I love the skin-like finish to it because, I don't know, a lot of the times I feel like products, when they have that dewier finish, they just don't look as skin-like, where this actually, like up close, you wouldn't be able to detect this is makeup sitting on my skin, especially if you just go in with a very thin layer of product. But you can build it up so that you can get more, not a fuller coverage, like you can't get full coverage like I stated. You can definitely get a medium coverage, but it's just so pretty on the skin. I really, really love it. And I think this will be perfect for spring as well, because again, you're not gonna have a lot of light reflection, which I don't necessarily hate in the spring, but it is getting a little bit warmer out, so sometimes we don't want our foundation to be super dewy. This is just really, really pretty everyday makeup. It truly looks like your skin, but just naturally enhanced. For concealer, going in with the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Concealer. I have the shade M1, but M2 would be a little bit of a better match for me. And what I really like about this concealer is you need just the tiniest bit. So you can see there, I'm going in with just a very small amount of product. And then I'm just going to take a BK Beauty. This is an N16 brush. And I'm just going to blend it out on the under eye region. So I really like this concealer for the springtime. I mean, concealer is probably one of the products that I don't necessarily switch around when it comes to the seasons. I tend to just stick with the same. But I like this Westman Atelier concealer because it has a brightening effect, but it's not too bright. It also has a nice luminosity to it. It has a little bit more hydration than some of my other concealers that I maybe will reserve more for the summertime. It's hydrating, but not too hydrating. And it's a very interesting concealer because it's actually almost tacky. It is a thicker consistency and it has almost a tacky finish to it, which you might see as a downfall, but it's actually very nice because when it's a thicker texture, it seems to just fill in the under eyes, where sometimes liquidy concealers, they can almost settle into the under eye region because it's just such a thin consistency that thin texture just easily settles into the under eye creases, where this, I feel like, just smooths and almost like fills in any of those fine lines under the eyes. I just love a thicker consistency. And I also feel like it just sets a little bit better, like it just sits there all day long. I never have a problem with longevity. Like I said, this doesn't crease throughout the day. This is just a really great concealer and one of my favorite new releases in terms of concealer as well. Now, I am really liking these new Westman Atelier. These are the Sun Tone Bronzing Drops. I have the shade Soleil Parfait 1. And I think these work really well for my complexion because they are a little bit deeper. Like these definitely run, I think, dark, especially for the shade 1. Like that's the shade 1, so it's definitely deeper than my chest. And you only need the smallest bit of product. I will say this cap gets super, super messy, so I dislike that about this product. But I do like the ease of application that this comes in just a squeezy tube. It is very easy. These do sheer out very beautifully, so you just need a small amount of product and it just blends into the skin like a dream. So I'm going to take a BK Beauty. This is a 106 brush, and I'm going to dip in. And again, I'm applying to the palm of my hand and then going in from there. So I like that I can get in an even amount of product and then I will just apply it to the skin. So I like to apply to the top of my forehead, I'll go on the cheeks, and then I'll finish up on the nose. And again, this is a very skin-like product. So if you're looking for something that is just going to look like skin, that's not going to be clockable as makeup, you're gonna love this product because it is virtually undetectable on the skin. And I really love it to slightly warm up a look, but it's not going to warm up too much. So this just adds a really healthy effect to the skin. It's a very healthy, youthful effect. This is actually a shimmer-free product, which I really appreciate. I typically don't like products that contain shimmer in them, especially on the complexion, because I find that you can just see shimmer particles sitting on top of the skin, and I don't think that's very natural looking. That's not a skin-like quality to have shimmer particles on your skin. So I really appreciate that Westman made these completely matte, and I just love the effect that it gives. So I'm running a little bit on my eyelid as well and kind of up along the temple, just to add that slightly bronzed effect. I really just love this. It's so skin-like. And like I stated in my review video, I did try this with a beauty blender, and when I apply it with a beauty blender, there's something about the beauty blender that actually will remove the makeup underneath. So you do have to be careful with liquid products because that can sometimes happen. But if you apply this product with a brush, I've never had an issue where it removes the product underneath. It's just truly, truly gorgeous on the skin. And another thing I really like about this product is that it dries down. So a lot of the time I will use something, I'm actually going to throw in some comparisons. So a lot of the time you see me use the Makeup by Mario. This is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, and I love this product. However, it's a more emollient product, and it doesn't completely dry down on the skin. So I love to use this in the winter time. I actually really like this in the summer. I like this all season, I'll say, but it does have that quality where it's not going to completely set down to a powder finish. So this might not work for very oily skin types. And I really liked the Makeup by Mario. This is the Soft Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum because this actually has that dry down quality. It's more of a gel consistency, but it will set down. However, this does have a light reflection. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it. So I really like that the Westman Atelier one is a liquid bronzer that actually sets down on the complexion. This does have that beautiful set down quality where it's not going to move at all throughout the day. It's going to set down to a very natural skin-like finish and remain consistent all day long. I just really, really love it. And I am very happy to report that the YSL, this is the Make Me Blush Powder Blush in the shade Rose Haze, is available in the US now. So they decided to release it. It is available at Sephora US. So I will link that down below. I did talk about the NARS blush, which is in my bag here. This is the NARS blush in the shade Behave. These are similar. You saw me swatch them in my last video, but if you missed that video, I will just swatch them again. So the NARS blush is definitely more of a sheer formula. It's more buildable. It's also talc-free. The YSL is not talc-free, so if you're someone that looks for cleaner products, cleaner ingredients, you're going to probably prefer the NARS one. But there's the YSL. So there's the YSL blush, and then here is the NARS blush. So you can see they are pretty similar, but I would say that the YSL blush is just, it has more saturation to it, so it's a little bit more of a vivid blush. It has more pigment, like I said. It's very, very silky smooth when you feel the powder. These are both powder products. However, the YSL one just feels more silky smooth, where the NARS one doesn't really. But I have been using the NARS one more, and maybe it's just because it's that more sheer to buildable pigmentation. So I feel like I like that it's a little bit sheer on the skin, where this one is just a little bit more vivid. However, for the spring and summer, I do like this because it just has a little bit more of a punchy color, even though it is that rose haze, so it's supposed to be that more nude color. It's just a little bit more punchy, but not really. It has a little bit more, I want to say the NARS one is a little bit more of that pinky peach nude hybrid, where the YSL one just has a little bit more pink to it. So since the YSL is now available in the US, I'm going to go ahead and use that, and you literally just need a tiny bit. And as always, I'm always taking the excess off on the back of my hand, and you can just apply it to the cheeks. Really, really beautiful. So again, this is a buildable formula, but it is quite pigmented. So I just like to start off with a little bit of product and build it onto the skin. This is just a typical powder formula, but it's a really beautiful powder formula. It is very finely milled. It is one of those blurring blushes. I can actually tell that this does blur the look of any pores or anything like that. So it's kind of unique in that aspect. And even though, if you couldn't tell, I did not powder my complexion, this applies on the skin really nicely. You just go in with a tiny bit of product, and like you saw, I take off that excess and it applies onto the skin really beautifully. Okay, I actually meant to do my highlighter before I did the blush, but I kind of forgot. I actually prefer to do highlighter before blush, so it will kind of fix that. But the highlighters that I really, really love is this Chanel Jeux de Lumières multi-use eyeshadow and highlighter palette. This is absolutely fabulous. My favorite pairing too is I use this on the cheeks as a highlighter palette. And then I go in with this Chanel Ombre Essentiel, this Latte Frappe shade in the crease. I use this on the eyelids for an eye look, and it is so gorgeous. This is my favorite look. However, as you guys have informed me, this is now sold out in Canada and the US. In Canada, I think it's still available at Holt Renfrew, so I'll link that down below. But unfortunately, this is completely sold out in the US, except at Selfridges. You can purchase in the US at Selfridges, but the shipping might just be expensive, so I'm really sorry about that. So I'm not going to use that today because of that. But other products that I've been really loving is this Dior highlight. I think this Dior powder highlight is beautiful. If you're someone that likes a liquid illuminator and don't typically like a powder highlighter, try out this because you get that effect of a powder highlighter, or sorry, the effect of a cream highlighter, but you get that ease of application from the powder. It truly melts into the skin like a cream product. It's really gorgeous. And then I also really love this Chanel Baume Essentiel. This is their cream highlighter and the shade Sculpting. Actually, because I use the powder blush already, usually what I do is I go in with a powder highlighter and then go over top with my blush. I just like the blend better. But today I'm going to use that powder highlighter, and then I'm going to go in with this cream blush, or sorry, cream highlighter. I'm having trouble with words today. So I like to just take a little bit on my finger. I'm just going to work one cheek at a time. And I like to apply just on the very high points of my cheekbones. The most beautiful, natural glow to the skin. It doesn't look too heavy. It doesn't look obnoxious. It just gives you the most natural glow. There are no shimmer particles to this, so you're not going to see that intermittent shimmer. You're not going to see individual shimmer flecks on the skin. You're just going to get a beautiful natural glow. This truly looks like your skin is just glowing. I like to take a little bit down the center of my nose, not all the way down to the tip because I don't like when the tip is shiny, but just a little bit. And truly, it just looks like your skin is healthy. And I did want to also say, someone asked if this was one of those sticky balms where it's tacky and like your hair gets stuck in it. With this product, it doesn't completely dry down to like a powder finish, and it doesn't dry down essentially, but it isn't one of those sticky, tacky highlighters. Like for me, I find the Westman Atelier highlighter stick, that is tacky to me. That doesn't dry down. That is very emollient. That's more emollient than this one. This one, even though it is creamy, it has this a little bit of a dry down so that it's just not sticky, and it just dries down so that it looks like your skin is naturally glowing. But again, it doesn't completely dry down to a powder finish or anything like that. It just doesn't remain sticky on the complexion. It's not super balmy where your hair is going to get stuck in it. But again, it's not going to completely dry down. So I did want to make that, I guess, clear. And I just think it's so pretty on the skin because it adds that skin texture back to your complexion where things just look healthy. They look more natural. So sometimes if I'm going in with a full glam look, I do like to use this as a highlighter because it just makes the look more natural versus using a powder highlighter where it can just look a little bit more intense. It can actually look like you've applied a makeup product to the complexion. So I just love this for that natural glow. It's gorgeous. And then I had to mention, because these are, honestly, I am shocked by how much I'm loving these. These are the Merit Flush Bombs. And I just love all these shades that I picked up. So I have Archival, I have Lusitano, and Bespoke. And I can't choose a favorite because I feel like they serve really nice different purposes. I guess if I had to choose the difference between Bespoke and Archival, I feel like Archival would be one that I utilize more because Bespoke's just this very interesting like plum brown shade. So I feel like this is a perfect fall winter tone where this is perfect to like cool down a look. If I want to go in with more pinky eyeshadows or neutral taupey shades, this would be perfect on the cheeks. Or maybe I just went in with a blush that's a little bit too warm. I can cool it down with something like this. And then again, on the other side, I have Lusitano, which is perfect for warming up a look. Or if I go in with like coral eyeshadows or peaches or bronzes or golds, this would be a perfect pairing on the cheeks. Or again, if I go in with something too cool on my cheeks, then I can warm it up with a color like this. So I want to play with a little bit of this one today because the eyeshadow that I'm going for, I'm using this Chantecaille. This is the Nymph Eye Trio. Actually, you know what? I feel like the Nymph Eye Trio, okay, now I'm having a hard time deciding. So you know what? I'm going to do my lips first because the lip is going to help determine what I can use on my cheeks. So I'm going to take the Merit, this is the Signature Lip Sheer Lip Liner in the shade Beverly Hills. I am in love with this. I hate to use the word obsessed, so I'm trying not to use that. I really love this because I'm not into that really, when you apply a lip liner to your lips, it just adds so much definition and it just is such a harsh line. I like when my lips look a little bit more lived in. I like when they look very natural. I basically, on a daily basis, only apply a lip gloss. I don't really wear lipstick on a daily basis. I'll just wear it if I'm going out for dinner or there's a more special occasion. So this product is perfect for me where I want to add that definition, but I don't want it to look like I have lip product on. So I'm going to add some definition to my lip line by lining my lips with this, and then I'm going to fill it in like I would with a lipstick. And again, with a lot of lip products, you see me rub them in after I've applied a lipstick. I'll rub it into my lips. So I basically just have like the smallest tint of color on my lips. But this just does this good job of adding that little bit of a tint of color without it being overwhelming, without it looking like I'm wearing a heavy lip product. So I absolutely love that. I do like to top it off with a little bit of a gloss or something to that effect. So I'm going to just take this Paula's Choice Pro Collagen Peptide Gloss Balm and just apply that over the top. Okay, and now I feel like I can go in with a cheek color to finish it off. So the only thing is I'm wearing a red shirt, so I feel like this Lusitano is going to pair the best, but I do think I really could go with either shade. Like Archival would be beautiful as well, but I would just be preferring to wear a different color on top. So I'm going to take the shade Lusitano, which I know I've been using an obnoxious amount, but I just can't help it. It's my favorite. So I like to apply product where I get that, yes, it's a little bit more work to apply it to your hand first and then to your cheek, but you're just going to get a better result. So I'm going to take this BK Beauty N17 brush. I'm going to take this side because that side applies creams better, and I'm just going to distribute that evenly on the brush because, again, you're going to get a really beautiful application when you apply it that way. And I'm just going to apply it to the cheeks. So again, this is similar to that Chanel highlighter stick where it's just going to add that skin texture back. This is one of the only cream blushes that I find applies beautifully over powder products. A lot of cream blushes, I would not recommend using this method. Like, it doesn't work for, say, the Westman Atelier blushes. They're almost too powdery or too dry to apply over a powder blush. So I really like this texture because it applies beautifully over a powder product and it adds that beautiful skin texture back to your skin so that it doesn't look like you're wearing heavy powder products. It just makes your skin come back to life. It gives you health. So pretty. I really like this effect. And if you did need to go in with a little bit of powder, I'd go in with something like my Clé de Peau Refining Pressed Powder and just precision powder in any areas where I need a little bit of blurring or powder. So I just like to keep it in the center of the face, just where any powder is necessary. But I love these Merit Cream blushes. I am so happy with them because they are very sheer in pigment. You're not going to get a lot of opacity out of this. It's not going to be like a full coverage blush. It's not going to give you, like, this color may look very intense, but it's the perfect pinky coral. And I love that this coral has a little bit of pink in it because I feel like it makes it more wearable for a lot of more skin tones. If it was very orangey, obviously it would be harder to wear for more people, but it's just the perfect pinky orange, like that perfect combo of that in between, or it's a perfect pinky peach. I love, love, love it. And next, moving on to the eyes, and I can't believe I haven't used this on my channel yet, but this is the Chantecaille, the Nymph Eye Trio, and this has the most gorgeous tones. So I love using this as a one and done, just all over the lid, and then topping it with this beautiful champagne. But I never use purples on my channel, and I feel like I do want to show you. Okay, I just realized that I totally forgot to use my Dior Forever. This is the Nude Bronze in the shade O2 Light. I totally forgot to use a powder bronzer. So I'm going to have to be very careful about this application because I do have more cream products on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fluffier brush, take this BK Beauty 104. I do not want to use something dense in this case. And this is a more hard pressed bronzer. It almost feels like a baked gelée. It's not a baked gelée, just so you know, but it almost feels that way because it is hard pressed and you don't get a lot of powder kick up when you dip your brush into this. So, and it's also a light tone. Like it's basically just one shade deeper than my skin tone. So I'm going to take that on this fluffier brush and I'm going to apply it to the forehead just to set down that Westman Atelier product that I used. Not that it needs to be set down, but I do want to show you this bronzer because this has been one of my favorite new releases. I'm going to bring it across the nose. And then with that excess product, I'll just bring it on the cheeks, but I want to be careful because I went in with that Merit product. Actually, you know what? I was scared that would look really muddy, but that actually looks really nice. And I think it's because this is such a sheer product. Like it is very, very buildable. You have to go in with a lot of product to get like a very nice swatch or to get a lot of pigment out of it. It's a very sheer bronzer. So I like that it's buildable. And I think that's what makes it look really good over these cream products. Okay, let's move on to the eyes though. I'm going to take a little bit of this Dior bronzer and I'm also going to work this into the crease just because I like to have a little bit of what's on my cheeks in my eye look as well. I think it just looks a little bit more complete. A little bit, I don't know, I just like that monochrome look where you get a little bit of what's on your cheeks in your eye look. I just think it helps it look a little bit more natural, even though you're adding more product, so that might seem weird. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take this BK Beauty A504 and I'm going to dip into the purple shade. And I'm just going to go in with a little bit of this. I have seen people just apply this as a one and done and it looks really beautiful. But I like this purple because it's going to give you a pop of color, but it's so, so subtle. It's not a very intense purple. So for someone like me that just doesn't really like to add a lot of color to their looks, this is very subdued. This is very underdone. It doesn't look like a typical purple that's just intense, that has a lot of opacity, that's high in pigmentation. No, it's very sheer. So you're not going to get this intense purple. It's going to be more on the sheer side. So I like that because I find that it's more wearable for me, that it's more on the sheer side. But you can see, you can get that pigmentation. So these are baked gelées. And I love a baked gelée on the eyes because you can really sheer them out or you can build them up on the skin. And they also have that effect where they just kind of melt into the complexion where it doesn't look like you've applied a powder product. It melts in like you've applied a cream eyeshadow. It's such a unique formula and I really like them because they're buildable. You can use them wet or dry. So if you want more pigmentation and you want something that's a little bit more intense, you can just wet them and you can get that really nice opaque, high pigmented look. But you can sheer them out by just using them dry and using a more fluffy brush. So I really like that versatility out of this eyeshadow and I just think it's such a pretty look. So again, just applying that to the very outside corner of my eye, just for a little bit of color. Again, I'm going to get less of that pigment payoff because I'm using a fluffier brush. And I'm also going to go into this Rephr 01 brush. So the Rephr 01 brush is natural hair, so it's going to pick up product a little bit better. And I just want to apply this product right here. So this is that more, it's like a bronzy tone. It's really pretty just all over the eyelids. So these all have a little bit of a sheen to them. These right here just have more of that sheen. It has a little bit of an intermittent shimmer, but nothing crazy, where this one does have a little bit of intermittent shimmer. So this one has that more sporadic shimmer particle throughout it. So this is more similar to the Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades, I would say. It's not a complete chunky glitter, but it does have that more intermittent shimmer, where these are more of that sophisticated sheen that is very natural, that doesn't really have a lot of that intermittent shimmer particle throughout it. So I really enjoy these shades. But again, I'm going to pick up this more bronzy tone just on the side of the brush. And then I'm going to, of course, get off that excess product. And I'm just going to apply this all over the eyelid. Sort of what I do as a one and done. And you can blend it into the crease a little bit just to meet up with that bronzer. This is going to be such an easy eye look. I'm also going to take a BK Beauty. This is a 204 brush. And I'm going to, again, pick up a little bit of that bronzy tone. And I'm going to run that under the lower lash line. just from the outer corner inwards. I'm not going to take it all the way in because I'm going to go in with a bronzer as well. And then just to completely blend out the lower lash line, I'm going to go back into that Dior bronzer, and I'm going to apply that over top of that bronzy shade, going all the way from the outer corner inwards. And I'm going to make sure I connect it to that upper outer lid as well. And then as a final touch, I'm going to take this shimmery gold shade and I'm going to pick it up on my fingertips. So what I like to do is I'll pick it up on my fingertips and then kind of evenly distribute it onto the fingertips just so I get a softer look. And then I will press it starting at the center of the eye and applying it to the inner and outer corners, just kind of going back and forth. This is honestly so gorgeous. I am so impressed by this eyeshadow trio. I just love the look that I get out of it. Yes, I'm not going to get a ton of different looks. I mean, you could go in with this all over the lid and then top it with this shimmery color the same way that I did with this, and apply a little bit of that to the lower lash line if you wanted to use these on the lid. So I guess you can get different looks out of it. And this is also something my mom picked up as well because I told her how much I was loving with this, and my mom picked up both of the palettes from the collection. So if you guys, I know you love to hear what my mom loves from newer collections or just in general, and my mom is really loving this palette as well. So I did get her to pick that up and she really likes it. I feel like on camera, this isn't going to pick up as well as it does in person, but it is so beautiful. And I really like how this whole makeup look turned out. I think it is really, really pretty. And I love the full effect. These are just my favorite products right now. And I just love the result that I get out of them. So I just went ahead and applied mascara. I used the Chantecaille Faux Seal Longest Lash Mascara. And I also did Tightline with the Hourglass. I don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is. The Hourglass Voyer Waterproof Gel Eyeliner in the shade Black Obsidian. And I just tightlined in my upper waterline because it makes it just all connect. And I really, really like this makeup look. I think this Chantecaille palette is so beautiful. And I like that it is, like, it looks so pretty for a daytime look, but you could also jazz it up for an evening look. Like, I could make this work for day and evening. But that is it for all the best new luxury spring releases for 2025 so far. I just wanted to do kind of a roundup on my favorite luxury beauty releases that I think are perfect for the springtime. I hope you really like this video. Please let me know all your favorite new luxury beauty releases, specifically for the springtime. If you have any that have been released, I would love to hear from you. I love to keep the conversation going in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.